All right, folks, I told y'all that in anticipation of the 2024 Grit Conference, we're going to be teasing out some of those awesome speakers that we're going to be able to learn from. This guy is the big tuna of all of those. In my humble opinion, everybody's going to be great, but Mr. Mike Michalowicz is with me. He is the entrepreneur behind 3 multi-million-dollar companies and is the author of Profit First, Clockwork, Pumpkin Plan, Fix This Next, Get Different, My Money Bunnies. His newest one's All In. I'm sure he's probably got 2 or 3 other books in the works. I actually have Profit First with me right
Oh, wow.
here. And he is a former small business columnist for the WSJ and regularly travels the globe as an entrepreneurial advocate. Mike, it is an awesome honor for you to join us here on Good Morning Market. How you doing?
I'm doing well. It's a joy to be here. I've never been called Big Tuna, but I love it. I'll take it. That's the first time ever.
You know what? I think I've been watching a lot of Office clips. So Big Tuna,
Yeah, yeah,
there's a
yeah,
little
yeah.
reference for those who know the show. Maybe that is just in that headspace right now. So I'm going to hit you with my hardest question first, okay?
Sure.
I saw that you are a self-described marginally good guitar player. I myself
Yes.
play drums, so I can relate. Marginally good.
Let's get the band back together.
Oh,
We
so
got to
you
get the
don't even
band.
know. I'm putting the drum set in the back of the truck when I come to Grit. So you just be ready. You better
Oh
make
my
sure you have your
God.
guitar.
If you're up for it, we can lay some stuff out. Yeah.
Well, speaking of which, like, when you say guitar, for those who don't know, there's acoustic, there's electric, there's bass. Which
Sure.
is it, and who is your greatest guitar inspiration?
I lean acoustic. I have an electric, but I have maybe 6 acoustics. Love jamming out. I was playing this morning, just practicing out. My favorite guitar, I'll give you 2. David Gilmour, the most melodic solos for rock. But there's this guy, Buckethead, I've been watching. This guy is the most innovative guitarist I've ever seen in my life. I think his real name is Brian something, but he's bringing guitar to a whole new level. I thought it was over. He's expanding it again.
Is he like
Buckethead.
a solo guy? Like I say, like
Yeah,
on YouTube
solo
a
guy.
lot?
He's played for
Yeah.
Guns N' Roses for a short
Okay.
period.
Okay.
He played for some major bands, but he's a solo guy. He
Okay.
wears his shtick is where he wears a bucket on his head. I don't know why he does that. He's unbelievably good.
Okay. Yeah, I'm gonna have to check that out because I don't play guitar, but like I like listening to guys like the classics, like Stevie Ray Vaughan or even Prince and Jeff Beck, and look, some of those guys. Just watching them do the thing is a beautiful thing.
Unbelievable. It's beautiful.
So now that I've given you the toughest one first, now we can
Yeah.
land the plane with some easier ones. So 2024 Grit Conference is how we got connected,
Yep.
and you're going to be speaking about the profit first approach to business. Once again, for those who don't know, it's based off of his book that he wrote, a very very popular book. In a nutshell, what is a profit first business?
So it's a business that focuses on profitability. And what I get discouraged about is so many people say profit's greed, corporations are greedy. Profit is stability. If there is no profit, the business goes under. It's the only way to bring health to an organization. The profit first method just forces that issue. So every time revenue comes in, we take a predetermined percentage of that revenue as profit, hide it from the business, and run the business off the remainder. It's the pay yourself first principle applied to business.
Which is almost, you could dare say, an unorthodox position or just very counterintuitive. That's not the mainstream way that any business from startup to major companies approach running a business.
That's right. Did I hear a cuckoo clock? Is
Yeah.
there German blood pumping through you? I love it.
So listen, I took a beautiful trip in 2022, and part of it was in Germany, the Bavarian area, and I was told that cuckoo clocks are like the #1 souvenir. So yes, there is a cuckoo clock letting us know about the time it is.
That's amazing. My mother was German, so we had cuckoo clocks in the house, and yeah, they're amazing. So that's why I recognize it instantly. I can't remember what the question was. The cuckoo clock through.
No, so I was my follow up to the profit first mentality. Thank you
Yeah,
for a succinct explanation. I can now see, definitely why we would want to cover that at the conference. That's counterintuitive. No businesses,
right.
most businesses are not going to take that approach.
That's right. That's right. And I got even disinvited. I was asked to keynote a major conference of accountants, and they said, "Why don't you talk about profitability, profit first?
Mhm.
We heard about it. What is it?" And I said, "Well, every time revenue comes in, you first take your profit, aka the old formula is sales minus expenses equals profit.
Mhm.
I'm saying the new formula is sales minus profit
Mhm.
results in your expenses."
Right.
And they disinvited me. They said, "But no, that's not an accounting principle. You can't come here." And
But
so,
say, yeah, you literally were blasphemous in front of the accountants on like the basic accounting 101. You just broke the cardinal law.
yeah, I did. And so I was disinvited. And here's what it points to. I call it the old formula, sales
Mhm.
minus expense equals profit, is very logical. It makes sense,
Mhm.
but it's not behavioral. It's human nature. What comes first gets prioritized. So what comes first in the old formula is sales. Everyone's like, I need to sell more, and expenses. We don't like to say expenses. We like to say grow. I need to
Mhm.
sell more. I need to grow more. And I'm like,
Mhm.
that's horrible because these businesses are never profitable. What
Mhm.
comes last gets treated last. It gets ignored. It's the
Yep.
manana syndrome. The
Yep.
vast majority of businesses under $25 million in revenue, that's considered a small business. The vast
Mhm.
majority, it's well over 80%, are surviving check by check. So I said, there's a problem with the formula. While it's logical, we
Mhm.
aren't Spock's running business.
Right.
We're Captain Kirk's. We're
Right.
behavioral.
Yep.
Sales minus profit equals expenses is the new formula. And what I'm saying is, ironically, logically, it's the same. It's equivalent in mathematics, but the behavior is radically different because now I'm saying your sales and the profit you generate from it are your number one priority. And what's left over is what you need to manage your business. In short, if you want to have, say, a 15% bottom line, take 15% of the top line. And
Mhm.
now your business will tell you what you have left over. And if you can't operate your business with those expenses, that means there's something fundamentally flawed in running a 15% profitable business. Fix the
Mhm.
business.
Yes, yeah. It's just the problem is not the fact that you're paying yourself. The problem is just the business model and the way you operate.
That's
That
exactly
I'm
right.
following.
Yeah.
And by the way, I love the Spock Kirk analogy. So let me then challenge you, or a follow up. It's 2024. We're still relatively new in the year. A lot of things have changed in the economy since COVID. Is it getting easier, or is it getting more difficult to be a profit first business, and why?
It's getting easier for startups, harder for established. It's kind of
Mm,
weird. If I get approached by a brand new business and they do profit first, we can go all out because they don't know better. Right? They just simply say, "Oh, I want a 20% profit. I guess this is what I have to do," and they start
mhm,
structuring their business around this healthily.
mhm,
Ironically, now I'm seeing is businesses that are established that are doing one or two or $10 million and are struggling. When they
mhm.
start taking the profit first, they say, "But this isn't working. We've never done it this way," and they fight the old bad habits.
Yep,
So it's getting harder for an established business to rewind, but it's doable. The
yep.
fix is do it slowly. We have to
Okay.
build up a new behavior, and the new businesses, the brand new startups, we say do it aggressively because we're going to set the good discipline from day one.
That actually is quite profound. So another business operations considerations is related to this principle you just mentioned is I was speaking to a business owner who owns a bunch of different coffee businesses, has been a successful business owner in the Savannah area for a decade. And she confided in me, she said, Philip, with the inflationary crisis that happened after COVID, all these new businesses popping up, they don't even know what it's like to have to deal with that. Not because they're not seeing the effects of inflation, but they were birthed in the inflationary crisis, so everything about their business accounted for it. Whereas me, I had been around, and my customers had had 10 years of expectations, and then the inflationary crisis happens, and I'm having to fight a whole big machine in the way we've always done it, and having to make adjustments. So much more painful, to your point, to take an established long time small business or any kind of business and to become profit first versus someone who starts off that way.
Yeah, you have to unwind bad habits. Talk about Savannah.
Hmm.
A company that deployed profit first is the Savannah Bananas.
Hmm.
They're a wildly popular baseball team. I think there's a huge lesson here. So the story is I got a letter from Jesse Cole and Emily Cole. They're
Hmm.
the founders of the Savannah Bananas. This is 7, 8 years ago. And it said, we're doing profit first. Now they had just purchased the baseball team. And to give context, this was a very established baseball team, just like that coffee shop. They've been
Yep.
around for years,
Hmm.
and the average attendance was 300 people. That's common in these minor league and all-star league
Hmm.
teams. 300 people paying $10 a ticket. It's $3,000 a game, but you have a stadium to operate, you have players to feed and so forth. It is really hand to mouth.
Hmm.
And they did this and they started implementing profit first, meaning taking their profit first. And then you look what's left over for expenses. They said, we can't afford to maintain our scoreboard. The initial reaction for most people is, I guess I can't be profitable.
Yeah,
But what
just
they said is, they said, well, we want to be profitable. We can't maintain a scoreboard. How do you run a baseball game without a scoreboard? And they said, my gosh, let's invite the audience, kind of like a between boxing rings, and have them walk the field holding up the scores. And then they said, oh, we can have the audience become our cheerleading squad. now called the Grandma Bananas. You have to be
Hmm.
80 years or older, ideally toothless, and and the crowd loses their mind. Well, fast forward. The Savannah Bananas has sold out every single one of their games for 6 consecutive seasons, plus this year's 2024, plus next year, 2025, sold out. They have 5,000 people attend per game. The entire stadium is packed, and they're extraordinarily profitable. Now, here's the key. It's not that Profit First alone did this.
Yes.
Emily and Jesse are very innovative people, and they
Hmm.
saw that by putting constraints in, they had to break the box. They are the Harlem Globetrotters of the baseball industry,
Yep.
and they're on ESPN, they're on all the major networks constantly because they're redefining how the business operates. That's the opportunity. So this coffee shop and anyone else that has an established business, you can do it too. We have to put the constraints in. You're going to feel brutal pain and
Hmm.
the natural propensities. Let me go back to how it used to be. I'm saying, no, no,
Right.
no. How do you redefine the industry?
Very good point. So yeah, we're going to be uncomfortable either way. Don't just go to what you're comfortable with. That pain. Let's go into the uncomfortable because it's actually be the most transformative. So
Yeah,
I want to
get
ask Mike
definitely.
several more questions about Profit First. First, let's take a quick message from today's episode sponsor, Soul Insights.
This episode is sponsored by Soul Insights. Is your business hitting a growth plateau? Frustrated with marketing strategies that don't deliver? For small and mid-sized businesses, there is a data-driven path to high-value customers that can meet you where you're at. Soul Insights takes you there. Soul Insights is a strategic marketing agency that helps businesses know their customers and build and execute profitable marketing programs at scale. To help you get started, I'm offering a customer-based audit to reveal untapped profit opportunities and threats in your business for free. I normally charge $2,000 for this service, but I'm offering it for $0 to the first 5, and that's 5 only qualifying business owners. Don't miss out on this exclusive offer. Visit soulinsights.com to fill in the contact form with customer-based audit and mention this podcast. Elevate your business today with Soul Insights. That's soulinsights.com. Let's grow.
Okay, so continuing on that conversation, I'm definitely picking up what you're laying down. Let me ask you this. Is a profit first business more competitive or less compared to a profit last period? Because you're talking about the health benefits for us, but then of course, many of us will look, well, I can't reinvest in the business. I can't do this, and that I was doing. That means my competitors are going to eat my lunch because I'm taken out of the business to feed me and, I'm putting the business last.
I finally figured out why my hair is thinning because I'm pulling it out over this question. I hear over and over again, I need to reinvest and plow back. I want to be very clear. When you reinvest or plow back money, it means it's an expense. It also
Mhm.
means you were never profitable. I've met business owners say, "Oh, we had a 10% profit." I ask them, "Where's the money?" They say, "I put it all back in the business." I'm like, "Well, that's not profit. That's an expense. If you spend it,
Mhm.
it's an expense. Profit is
Yeah.
only money that's distributed to the shareholder or retained earnings that will in the future be distributed to shareholders." So that's what
Okay.
profit is. So first, we have to be clear about that. But
Okay.
the second thing is when you put money back in the business, you are avoiding the call for innovative thinking. And when you
Mm.
avoid that, you are more likely to replicate what you've done before. Now, I want
Right.
to give context. We have over 800,000 businesses that have implemented Profit First. So we have hundreds or thousands actually of case studies and feedback of businesses that have told us, my God, I'm growing faster now that I'm profitable. And I know it sounds bass backwards, but
Mhm.
Jesse Cole and his Savannah Bananas is a perfect example.
Mhm.
They redefined baseball because they didn't have money. I wonder if they had an endless source of cash or put every dime back in. I bet you they would have replicated the industry because that's the obvious thing.
Yep. You got to go with what's safe, right?
Yeah, you got to, it forces you to break the rules.
Mhm.
Innovators always redefine the industry. So
Mhm.
if you really want to grow, challenge the industry, constrain cash, so you're forced to find the innovations.
Mhm. Guys, I told y'all unorthodox, but here's the thing: is which one is actually going to make you happier? More, more money in your pocket, or actually the
That's
business
true
feeds
too.
you, or where you're constantly feeding the business. So, hey, let me. This is actually one when I was looking at the book, which I purchased. It was recommended to me by a colleague that I needed to run my business this way while I'm early and small. And reading about the mentality, it actually reminds me of something I'm actually speaking about at the Grit conference. So my talk at Grit is going to be about prioritizing profitability and acquiring and engaging customers. Like the general gist that not all customers are equally valuable. You should prioritize acquiring and investing in customers that are going to be higher value, more profitable
Totally.
relationships. So what can profit first principles that you're talking about in your book, and you're going to be talking at Grit, is there any carryover to how we look at pursuing and serving our customers?
Absolutely. So what you can do is when you acquire a customer, you can sort them using the 80-20 principle, the Pareto principle. What this is the minority of your clients for almost all businesses represent the majority of your revenue. And the minority of your products or services represent the majority of your profitability. Match those best clients. It's easy to sort by revenue to your best products or services, the ones that are profitable. You can do that in your accounting system. Best clients buying best things are the heart of your organization. So Profit First will reveal this. And what you'll find too is the reverse. There will be some clients that generate very little revenue and they're buying things that aren't profitable. It is uncanny how many businesses have a portion of clients that actually cost them to keep them as clients.
Yep.
So we can do this analysis. And if you simply remove those clients and the associated expenses, instant boost again to profitability. So Profit First forces that, because when a business is taking their profit first and they can't pay their bills, the first thing we do is evaluate who are the great clients. Let's serve them better. Who's the bad clients? We may have to jettison some of them.
Yep. So yeah, so it sounds like we need to have a lower nonprofit tolerance, or a lower just expense kind of tolerance. We need to have a higher priority on profit, period. So you would imagine if a company is profit first, both in how they pay themselves and in how they prioritize their customer and their business development, they're probably going to have a lot more profit. And then, it's the bottom line that unfortunately many of us in the small business world, we just like, oh, it'll come eventually, and just hope that it will come.
It's the waiting game forever. And it rarely comes, because the bad habits get worse and worse and worse. And like, if I just work a little bit harder, a little bit longer, maybe I'll be profitable. And it never happens.
Yep.
Here's the greatest irony. Every single client you engage wants you to be profitable. Now, none of them say, oh, would you charge me more? Could you double the rates?
Yeah.
What they will say is, I want your undivided attention. I want to be treated as the number one customer. If you have no cash, you can't focus on that customer. You have to get more. It's this constant pursuit of acquiring new customers. So it dilutes your attention. But if you're profitable, then you have calm. You can cater to them. You have runway, which means time. You can serve them as the number one customer and treat them accordingly. So they do want you to be profitable because they get the benefit of that.
Wow. So, I mean, you're being so punchy, but like there's a lot to really sit with and to ponder and ruminate on. So I really appreciate you sneak peeking your conversation at Grit. I definitely recommend everybody who's able to attend Grit, attend. Otherwise, definitely need to connect with Mike. Obviously, he has his book for sale, Profit First. I want to ask you one just fun question as we're closing out. What is this entire conversation has been a popular business belief that you're a contrarian regarding. But what is a popular business belief with which you disagree, Mike?
Business plans. I think business plans are the biggest waste of time. And here's why.
Okay.
A business plan, in the traditional sense, we project the next 4 or 5 years, including income, all the things we're going to do. If we could honestly project the income of our business for one day, you could probably predict the stock market for one day. Go there, because you will become a billionaire overnight. There's too many variables. So what I encourage entrepreneurs to do, and we follow ourselves, is tacking plans. These are short 90-day increments. What can we do to optimize the next 90 days? Then at the end of 90 days, we ask what worked, what didn't work. Whatever worked, let's see if we can amplify it further. What didn't work, we have to adjust. Tacking is a sailing strategy, and what it means is to zigzag toward your destination. That is the best way to move a business forward.
Is that methodology covered in one of your books?
It is my very first ever book, The Toilet Paper Entrepreneur. I talked about this zigzag strategy.
Well, perfect. Mike, I would love to keep you longer, but I know that we've both got a lot of things to do ahead of the Grit Conference. Once again, thank you for joining us on Good Morning Market. Where should people go to follow you and to become Profit First?
Check out MikeMotorbike.com. Ironic, my last name is Michalowicz, no one can spell it, but Mike Motorbike is easy to remember. I don't have a motorcycle either, which is kind of ironic, but you go there. Every book I have written, there's free chapter downloads. I used to write for the Wall Street Journal, the WSJ, so you can get articles there. And I have my own podcast, MikeMotorbike.com.
Perfect. I'm going to put that in the podcast description in the show notes. Thank you very much, Mike, for joining us. It sounds like we got a lot of work to do to become Profit First, but it's definitely going to be worth it. And I look forward to seeing you at Grit.
I look forward to seeing you. Make sure you bring some kind of percussion instrument. Maybe it's just a snare or something. I'll see if I can get a guitar, and we'll maybe put on a show.
As the kids say, bet. Thanks, Mike.